Jumbo, fellow adventurer, and happy Friday. This is Mike Dooley, time for the final spiritual tune-up of the week. This week's theme has been entrepreneurialism, how to get your groove on. Got a number of questions for you today, but the one that really stuck out first for me is so applicable to how we engage with life, whether or not you're an entrepreneur. Mike, how do I avoid devaluing myself, my talents, my skills? What do I charge? Something that you learn very quick as an entrepreneur, particularly as a speaker, but it applies to everybody, is that if you don't charge enough, people will immediately assume that you've got a low grade product. Speakers very often in this realm and genre will try to speak at unity churches or science of mind churches, and often they do it for a love offering. That means anybody can show up, and at the end of the event, they can pay however love moves them. And generally, the expectations of such a presentation are like terrible. It's somebody who's not really into it. They're really tentative. They're really scared. They don't know if they should sell themselves. Whereas if somebody showed up and said, I've got this program for you and it's, $700, it's going to take a week. That would seem more valuable than a program that would take a week that was $100. Just immediately, your clientele, your people, will assume and associate a higher value for what you're doing if you charge more. Don't assume as a beginner that you should be charging zero, because everybody will think you're a beginner and it's not worth anything. So, in addition to that, here's a weird corollary I have found in business, and that is the newer and greener you are, the more you should charge. Okay? You've got stuff to offer. You have insights, and you need to be proud of it, as proud as you want your clients to be. So if there's a range where your peers are charging between $100 and $500 for, say, coaching, and you're new, you should be charging $500 or $400. Whereas if you're a veteran and you've been coaching your whole career, and you've made it work, you walk the talk, you've got a lot of breathing room, and there's a range between 100 and 500, not necessarily for one-on-one coaching if you're a veteran, but I would go to the low end. You've already established your credit, your credibility. You've already kind of made your mark. For example, my first events in the world, day-long events, generally they were at the $200 range, which was as high as most people would be charging as a beginner. And people showed up and it was a good deal. Now we're doing these online video courses that I put as much into, if not more, that should be valued at $200. One's going to be announced maybe later today. But we're selling them for $19 or $29. Now, we've got economies of scale, and we can ramp it up on the internet. But the gross is more, the profit is more, the love is more, the inclusion is more. So, you should definitely always charge. Nobody gets a free ticket. Even when we do financial offers and financial aid, we make people pay $1 or $10. No one's free. The newer you are as an entrepreneur, the more you should be at the top range. Just trust me. And the more experienced you are, when you have economies of scale and you're not talking about you being one-on-one with a client, then the less expensive you are. Like I said the other day, those who give away the most for free, like Google and Facebook, are the most profitable and gigantic companies on planet Earth. Attract with a low price, and then for those who want more, an optional purchase. A few other great questions came in. Mike, how to start your business? Where, when, how? I've actually touched on that several times this week. But to be crystal clear, any way, anywhere, anyhow you can start. And if you can do that today, then do it today. Think not that you need to burn your bridges. Think not that you need to make this declaration and have everybody hold you accountable. I mean, come on. You're not that flimsy, right? You're not going to just back out that quickly, are you? If you care, and you're going to do it, and you're going to do a little bit here and a little bit there, and keep your day job. So there doesn't need to be all that drama and all that suspense of like, when do I cut the ties and make this gigantic leap? Let it be easy. Okay. Number 3, third question for today. How do I build my clientele? That's the $1 billion question. But one trick I have found is focusing on the ones you have. In other words, if you don't have clients per se, and maybe you write notes from the universe or something, be fully present. Be in the moment. I can remember when I was sending an email, my daily emails to under 100 people, 36 people the first time. I can remember when it was 1,000, when it was 2,000, when it was 5,000. I would write as if I was speaking to the entire world, as if there were millions on my database. And to this day, there's still not a million on my database. But I would act as if it was all important. And if you deal with what's on your plate already with the highest regard, and you step forward in your best form, then not only will you light up your clientele or your customers or whoever they are, but you're going to be this source of energy that literally attracts more and more business to you as you continue dreaming, as you continue working with your words and affirmations, as you keep showing up in the physical world. Question 4, what suggestions do you have for those who feel stuck? We all know that feeling, and it sucks. You want to go faster than things are going. Invariably, my answer is going to come back to, now that you're in motion in your entrepreneurial pursuits, do stuff. Be in action more. Try something different. Ask for help. Knock on a door you've never knocked on before. Don't keep doing the same old things that gave you the same old results. Mix it up. Case in point, these daily spiritual tune-ups that began in March. I mean, I'm at this 20 years now. I don't need to be doing this, and I certainly don't get paid for these spiritual tune-ups other than the stars, which you send me, some of you, and I'm very appreciative of those. But as I shared the other day, who knows where this is going to go? I'm having a good time. It's a lot of fun. People are finding value in it. It's going to lead from one thing to another to another. And that way I don't feel stuck. I don't feel like it's getting stale. Mix it up. We used to be a t-shirt business, Tut Enterprises, me, Andy, and Mom. And in the beginning, it was 12 white t-shirts with black ink and a splash of red. Well, we diversified into every size imaginable, from baby rompers to triple XL, from sweatshirts to hoodies to rompers to greeting cards, posters, keychains. Self-published books were in that mix back in the 1990s. We were constantly doing new stuff, constantly going to new trade shows, constantly doing things kind of on an experimental basis. And that alleviated the feeling of being stuck, and it created new avenues for prosperity to reach us, including turning a t-shirt business into writing and speaking, as I do now and as my brother does. Number 5, what if you don't know exactly what you want, but you feel a change coming? That's exciting. The only thing you shouldn't do is just idly wait for that change. So prepare thy way. Just get your house in order, metaphorically and physically, tidy up, open up that bandwidth so that you can dive in, do some Google researches, ask about business, ask about love, ask about cooking, ask about whatever you're into, knock on all these doors, arouse optimism, create this sense of excitement, prepare the way. And if you have some inkling as to where it might be coming from, like a particular business or book or romance, what can you do to make your own baby steps in that direction? Maybe meet your good fortune halfway. And finally, last question. 2 people yesterday asked me about destiny, and does destiny exist? Well, great question, and certainly it could have implications for those who want to be entrepreneurs. Is this right for me? Is this where I'm supposed to go? Have the stars aligned? How do I know? Well, the short answer is there's absolutely no such thing as destiny. However, there are such things as probabilities. And we all choose the stage of our life, including our parents and our body and the time that we're born and the freckles and blemishes and how much hair we'll have. We choose that ahead of time for the likely probabilities that will thereby exist, suited to our own taste for adventure, love, savoir-faire. And so we all have probabilities before us, but they're not destined. We're not supposed to go down them. We can change our probabilities on the fly. We can decide we like something that we never really knew we would like so much, or we can decide, I thought this would be really cool, and it's not so cool now. You don't have to know what your probabilities are. You just have to follow your heart, just to the degree you can. And if your heart has been muffled for too long, like most of us, then just what do you think your heart might want to be telling you? What do you think might make the most sense emotionally and logically? And those are directions that you can move in. And again, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. To be an entrepreneur, to fall in love, to do whatever you want to do, ease into it and begin once I sign off this little tune-up. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here all week long with our Entrepreneurs Week. I'm thinking next week I might give that a theme. I know that there's a lot of writers out there. Maybe next week will be Writers Week. Do you want to write a book? Do you want to write some poems? You got kids material inside of you? Let me know what you think of that. If you have another idea for a theme for next week or the week after, please post it down below today or this weekend on Facebook or Instagram. That's where I go for my ideas. That's where I get to hear from all of you. Thanks so much for letting me do this. Happy Friday. Let it be the best of your life so far. Thank you on Facebook to Elizabeth and Kathy, Christopher, Mar. So glad you could make it. Teresa, Betsy, John. And on Instagram, Fine Focus. That you must be a manifester. Huggins, glad you're here. Lightson, yes. Devaya, great name. Oh, and I did hint everybody. There will soon be an announcement, very likely today, on social media and elsewhere about a brand new course to kick off 2021 with yours truly. Can't wait to do it. It's going to be a lot of fun, new stuff. Happy weekend. Adios, amigos.